and midpoints. And this stuff should be familiar, especially if you look at the fact that there's a triangle here. So let's take a look and see distance between 2 points. And this is an interesting formula that they give you. If I can make it a little bigger, there we go. And it shows that if you want to know the distance between 2 points, you subtract 1 point from the other and take the absolute value. So in other words, you kind of count between the 2 points and see how far apart they are. So like here, if they're talking about the distance between point D and F, you have to be able to say, okay, this is -2 and this one is 5. So, if they're like 5 minus and -2 is really what they're saying, then you'd have 7. Distance is 7. Okay, so you just got to be paying attention enough that you can, that you can realize the distance. All right, let's go to the, and now on to part 2, since I got cut off. And that is then the distance formula, and it's just based on what you saw above, which is the Pythagorean theorem. So really, there's no magic here. If you want to know the distance between 2 points, you just take the differences between the x's in each point and the y's in each point, square them and add them together, and then take the square root, and you will have the distance. Because it's basically, like if I do this, it's basically like you're just making a right triangle and saying, what's the distance here, what's the distance there. You add those distances together after you square them, take the square root. That's it. That's all there is to it. Hopefully that's pretty straightforward. All right, let's keep going down. Got to go back from the eraser. There we go. Okay. And then they show you some stuff here on page 26. They just show you how some work, and this is the typical thing here. You'll get a couple points and, you just say, let's see, 8 and -5. I'm guessing those are 13. Let's see if I can do this one right. 13 apart. And 6 and -4. I'm pretty sure that those are 10 apart. So that's 100. And I think 13 and 13 is 169. So you add those together, and that's where they're getting this square root of 269 thing. And then that apparently is 16.4. There you go. Plain as day. Hopefully that's making good sense for you. And let's clear that off. All right, let's go to the next. And now on to part 3. Cut off again. That's what happens when you use your cell phone as a hotspot. Yeah, so right now I'm in a random spot recording a video. Probably in an area of a building I'm not supposed to be in, but as long as nobody finds me, it'll be okay, right? Okay, so this is the midpoint when you're on the coordinate plane. You're going to have 2 points. You're going to have a point here with coordinates and a point here with coordinates, x's and y's. And you notice you take, from each point, you take the x's and add them together, divide by 2. Take the y's, add them together, divide by 2. Now for this, what you'll end up with, hopefully you'll see, is you will end up with an ordered pair. You'll end up with a new x and a new y, and that will be the exact coordinate of the midpoint. Okay, makes sense? Let's move down and see if I don't get cut off. I think this is part 4. I'm not sure. I mean, it'll all look good to you. I'll put it all together in one video at the end, but I keep getting bumped off. So again, if you use the midpoint formula, here's my -8, 6. Here in the middle is -5, 10. And they go through this long thing and to say, how do you find out what this other point is. Because if I know this one's here and this one's here, but that's the midpoint, to me, I look at it and I do it visually, because I say, if my x is -8 to -5, that's a +3. I'm going a +3 to get from here to there. If I go another +3, I'm going to be at -2, which is what it shows right there. Same thing, if I'm going here from 6 to 10, and that's the midpoint, that's a +4. I go another 4, and that's how I get to 14. This step 2 shows you how they do it, but I think there's an easier way. So there you go. It's not too, I think if you write it down, draw it out, it should be pretty easy to do. Part 17. So again, what I was trying to say, I don't know if it doesn't like the pen or what. So I have this x, y, z thing, and x, y, that's the 2x minus 3, and 27 minus 4x. And so then those have to equal each other because of the midpoint thing. So then you just figure it out from there. That's all it is. The next part talks about segment bisector. So let's see here. Oh, that must be the end of the page. Segment bisector. It says any segment, line, or plane that intersects a segment at its midpoint is called a segment bisector. All right, so I mean, should make sense, and it shows you here that M, right there, M is the midpoint of PQ. That's this right here. So M is the midpoint, all right? Plane A goes right through M, so it's a segment bisector. What else? MJ, so this segment here, MJ, is a segment bisector. KM, this line goes right through M. That's a segment bisector. Point M itself is a bisector. Okay, they all bisect, not dissect. No disgusting science, biology stuff here. Just bisecting. So there you go. Let's pause that for a second. So anyway, I think the assignment goes up through 56. There's really nothing that I haven't covered in there, and you have the examples in the book to look back through. That's pretty good. The lesson's pretty straightforward. We might look at this spreadsheet thing when I get back. I'm not sure how important it is. We'll decide, but that'll become, and then we'll do some stuff with bisecting. So make sure you ask questions, and then we'll see where things are on Thursday. Have a good time.